Kid Boo's crouching mediums have received significant buffs. Before, if you're able to get a hit with these moves, you were not able to cancel into any other normals. This basically meant that for you to pick up off of these hits, you had to go into special moves, which Kid Buu didn't really have great launching options here. Additionally, on block, you are not able to cancel into the additional mediums. This greatly hindered the move's use and pressure overall. You could try and go fishing with neutral for it, but if the opponent blocked it, then you really didn't have any follow-up, and you were sitting there inputting follow-ups that weren't coming out, and the opponent had time to reposition themselves. Now, Kid Buu is able to Gatling into his 5 heavy, 2 heavy, 5M, 6M, and 5S. As you can imagine, this opens up a whole new world of possibilities for Kid Buu combos, making these moves far more threatening at range. Additionally, you can also Gatling into the other versions of crouching medium on block. This is a reversion of nerfs that have been around for Kid Buu for years and returns him closer to his release state when he was one of the best characters in the game, and honestly, it's an appreciated buff. The game has tons of full screen normals now, and for Kid Buu to actually be able to threaten his in his own unique way that leads to pressure, while having to have some precision with the move, is something I think overall makes the character stand out a lot more in this game. Additionally, Kid Buu can now also Gatling his 5S into his crouching medium attack. This again gives him other routes for his combo game overall. However, you'll note that at full screen, there's not really much utility here, as the opponent is too far away, but with a little dash forward, Kid Buu all of a sudden has some very threatening pressure. Like the rest of the cast, Kid Buu was able to cancel his jump specials, including the 2S special, into jump heavies. This basically means he's going to be able to link them into new combo routes that we're going to see pretty consistent across the cast, but I also think this greatly means that he is going to have an immense boost in his sparking pressure. Just to give you an idea. Armball has received several buffs. For starters, let's take a look at how it used to behave before. At full screen, the projectile will dissipate before it reaches the opponent. Additionally, on whiff, you were negative 55. On hit, you had about 45 frames of hit stun to work with. In addition to that, on block, you had 40 frames of block stun, or varying depending on where you threw it and where it connected. This is Armball's new behavior. As you can see, it reaches from full screen, and you have a whopping 68 frames of hit stun to work with. 68 at a far, 60 up close. This is in combination with there being increased hit stop against the opponent when it does successfully hit, as well as reduced recovery after Kid Buu throws it. You get 50 frames of blocks in a point-blank range, an increase of 10 frames because of the reduced recovery. On whiff at full screen, you're like -0 here after the opponent jumps. This means that it could have some potential viability in neutral to catch the opponent as they're falling down to the ground and then putting them into a mix-up situation. This is a huge buff for Kid Buu to basically force his way in against the opponent. The changes to its duration as well as to its hit stop have also been applied to the A assist. While it is slow at 74 frames, the fact that it is a full screen threat now means that it's useful in a lot more situations and a lot more ranges, especially if you're able to air to the air the opponent, drag them to the ground, and then potentially line up an A assist. You will note, though, that the block stun is still very much the same. 58 frames of lockdown, 3 frames higher than many of the C assists that we see in the game. His C assist also received a change. Before we saw this apply to Gotenks' C assist, and now it's on Kid Buu. If you input up during the assist call, you're able to make Kid Buu rise up from the ground. This is at the perfect height to use it as a meaty on snap incoming, so if you want to be able to use a beam assist to lock the opponent and go for a snap mix-up playstyle, Gotenks isn't your only choice. Krillin potentially holds that thing if you're willing to choose his B assist over his A assist, but now so does Kid Buu, and I think that this is a great way to kind of bring back some of the old school playing style that the character had before. I think it's very easy to say that this is the best version of Kid Buu that we've had in the game for years, restoring old functionality to his crouching medium attacks so that now he's able to Gatling into them, use them multiple times in a pressure sequence to continue his offense as well as to keep the opponent guessing, threatening full screen confirms from Ki Blast as well as being able to snipe out the opponent and go into much easier routes that are rewarding both on block and on hit is a massive boon for the character. I don't know how effective it is, though, because while it is a full screen normal, it's not like a full screen normal that takes up the whole screen, like Trunks' 3M, for example. Kid Buu still has a little bit of precision going on, and whereas other characters who are going to be throwing out their massive 5 heavies, or their massive 5Ms, or their massive 2Ms, or anything like that, Kid Buu might still be seeing a struggle against them. However, there's a lot more utility with the character as well, with the buffs to his armball and his A assist, that could potentially mean that he's able to threaten more mix-ups and more lockdown from situations that he couldn't before. I'm excited to see if anyone's going to be experimenting with this character going forward, because I think Kid Buu has a lot of potential to be a true threat in this patch, and maybe we'll see people who used to play the character return and use him. But he has a lot of competition, though, and he does mean... still, he has a lot of competition, and he is going to be off of... still, he is in a lot... Fuck. One more. Still, he has a lot of competition in this patch, and many characters who threaten the same full-screen presence are able to do so for more rewards than he is due to the scaling on his crouching medium normals, namely like the farther versions. So we'll see where Kid Buu ends up overall, but I'm really hoping the character makes a comeback with these changes.